So you wouldn't regard yourself so much as a defector as perhaps a revisionist?
Yes.
That would be a fair
so.
comment.
Yes, yes.
And would it be fair to say that at least today that you are, in spirit perhaps, still a logical positivist?
Maybe spirit here has to be subdivided a bit. Certainly some aspects of it. Very much the linguistic turn, as Richard Rorty has called it, talking about words rather than ideas, and again, impatience with what I think of as irresponsible metaphysics, but then differing from the Vienna tradition in not drawing a line. I think about rather more as a matter of bad science in grading off into good science. So the scientism, the stress on science as being the avenue to knowledge, if you take science broadly, this I share with the Vienna Circle. But in general, it's been not only the case of apropos of metaphysics, but also of semantics. It's been, at these two points at least, very much a matter of my rubbing out boundaries. And a third one between philosophy and science. These three boundaries, which I tend to dismiss, and which all three of which Carnap insisted on.
Could you outline for us what you would regard as two or three of your most important philosophical doctrines?
I think the two really basic ones are extensionalism and naturalism. And I think that other characteristic views of mine can be hitched onto that pair as corollaries.
Would you like to say a bit more about them for an audience that perhaps doesn't know?
Oh, yes, good. Well, extensionalism, as I mentioned in that youthful reminiscence, is, I think of it as the doctrine that a class is no more than the sum of its members. And so you can see then as a corollary of that, you would have rejection of essentialism, rejection of essence versus accident as a distinction. It's just a question of the properties of a thing, and some are no more essential than others. They may be essential to our assigning that species name to it. They may be part of the definition of that of a general term. Well, there's essentialism. In the case of naturalism, it's a matter of thinking of science as the last word as of now. That science, a better way of putting it is that thinking of science as the avenue to knowledge. And science is fallible, and science goes on evolving, but it isn't as though there were some more dependable wellspring knowledge to which we might look in an effort to find a more substantial foundation for science in turn.
In the presence, Professor Quine, of someone who is regarded by many as the greatest living philosopher, we might forget that you're a person with likes and dislikes just like our own. What's your favorite food?
Well, first of all, I think of shellfish, oysters, clams, mussels. Also liver pate, leberwurst. Also anchovies. Oh, and brie cheese. I can't pick out a favorite among these. It's a plateau.
What food do you dislike?
Well, I dislike summer squash, or what in England I think you call vegetable marrow. And I dislike okra. And I don't think much of canned tuna fish.
What sort of music do you like?
The two that two genre that I respond to most spontaneously and enthusiastically are good Dixieland and good Latin American singing with guitars, the Mexican at its best, or, well, Colombia and Peru. There's some of that when the counter melodies come in and the harmonized voices and the characteristically Spanish beat. It's magic.
What sort of music do you dislike?
I never learned to respond properly to Bach, unlike most of my friends. A good deal of well, and certainly modern music leaves me cold almost always as it gets more and more abstract and atonal or getting off the standard scale. I should say on the other, as I think back again, that there's a little more I would like to say on the side of the music that I do like. There were those two categories that I respond to so decidedly, but also there's some of the heroic grandeur of Haydn, the Creation, and also some of the arias, some of the bel canto in Italian operas in Verdi. Well, or for that matter, Donizetti, or again the I Pagliacci.
What sport do you like best?
What
Sport?
I never got interested in sports at all as an observer, spectator sports. I was never very much involved in them in my youth. As a participant, we had our sandlot baseball games, and then we also had sandlot track meets, you might say, high jump, pole vault, running broad jump, that sort of thing, and 100-yard dash. Those things I took interest in, and in fact, in that category, I even got into my old characteristic practice of compiling scores.
Is there a sport that you dislike?
Well, one that I didn't rise to, it seemed to me awfully slow-moving and dull because I didn't properly understand it, I guess, was cricket. Paul Grice took me to a cricket match and explained to me, as best he could, what was up. The one I admire very much, I must say, although I'm not a fan, is baseball because of the precision. So impressive precision. So the sort of thing that you find also that one admires in Chinese acrobatics. A sport that I certainly don't relish and wouldn't too, in fact, that I wouldn't care to see, except I did view with interest one of them in Siam, it was in Thailand, boxing. That was fascinating, with the footwork, the kicking the face. But boxing matches and wrestling matches just I find really unpleasant.
What vice, and vice is defined by your own standards, do you or did you give in to?
Well, in my irresponsible college days, there was certainly a rather excessive drinking of the weekend. Smoking became quite a steady one. It wasn't until, well, for about 30 years, 30, 32 maybe, I was dependent mainly on a pipe, beginning in long middle of college perhaps, and gave up only about 30, 32 years ago, but thank heaven I did.
Is there any vice that you would think that you detest?
I've always, even before it became such a familiar national menace, I've always shuddered at the thought of narcotics, as an addiction to narcotics.
Why so?
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know whether it was, I mean, whether something I was told in my youth that influenced me so deeply that I've forgotten it. I certainly have had no first-hand experience with addicts. Never.